Hello, and thank you for reviewing this brief presentation about the ramped up overview and solutions that we provide to our customers. So let's get into it. As the headline reads, ramped up is a plan to win every deal. And what we mean by that is not only just a play on words, but it's an opportunity plan to show you if you're in the right opportunity, and if you are in the right opportunity, the tips and the tactics and the steps that you need to do to close that opportunity. Our value proposition really consists around three main tenets. One, improve close rates. Two, decrease ramp-up time. And three, provide recognition and a vehicle to have a repository of win stories. So let's get into that. So a recent report from SAP states that 90% of buyers find relevant use cases influence their decisions. And another study by RampedUp shows that 73% of new sellers find that relevant use cases and win stories is the most impactful information that they receive during the onboarding process. So as you can see, not only do new sellers want to hear relevant win stories, but also the buyers that the sellers are selling to want relevant win stories to help them influence their opportunities. And that's exactly what we provide, a tool and a vehicle to create thoughtful and provocative, informative win stories, and then repurpose that information so that we can use those win stories to help close deals. With Ramped Up, I know which deals I should be working on, and it helps me prioritize my time on deals I know that we can win. So since we know what opportunities are closing inside of your company, what we're able to do is show the seller if they're in an opportunity that looks like deals that have closed in the past. Ramped Up improves close rates by as much as 2x, and the way that we're able to do that is make sure that you're in the right deal, and if you are working in the right deal, ensure that you're doing the right things that have won deals like those in the past. As you see here, this is our ideal customer profile that will help the sellers understand if they're in the right opportunities. We're able to help sellers decrease their ramp-up time anywhere from 33 to 50%, and the way that we do that is to provide a self-directed framework, meaning that we have all the information that's available for the rep inside of the system so that they can work on it at their pace. A recent study from McKinsey and Company states that sales reps are either waiting for their supervisor, or they're waiting for their direct hire or somebody that's responsible for their training to tell them what to do, or they know what to do, they just don't know where to find it. And that occupies a third of their time. So this is the Ramped Up app inside of Salesforce.com, and the system will default to what is called the front page. And what the front page does is act as a Facebook or social media type feed so that the most relevant and most recent information is available for the seller. Such as recent deals that have been won, news that needs to to you, leaderboard reports based on wins, and then information around the competitors so you can stay top of mind with those competitors, and also perhaps a heat map to show where deals are getting sold, right? The concept really is to dig a little deeper inside of a win story so that a seller can understand exactly what's going on inside of their team, inside of their company, even if they don't have direct exposure to that seller. And so this is what this a detailed win report looks like. The detailed win report starts with this My Wins tab. So whenever an opportunity is closed inside of Salesforce.com, that information is pushed over to Ramped Up, and Ramped Up will create a win story. And so we understand, having been doing this for a while, that sellers aren't necessarily copywriters. So what they need is a series of questions to help them create a provocative and informative and thoughtful win story, like this win story wizard that you see here, right? And they also need a series of notifications, not once, not twice, not 3 times, and even 4 times, so that then it's important that the seller knows what's important to them, that they are required to complete this win story, and this really doesn't take a lot of time for them to complete a win story, so that they can get information that will populate the system, like this win story does here. Once we have the win stories, this is what populates the front page, and then again the front page will be emailed out to the field on whatever frequency that you choose, whether that's a quarterly, weekly, bi-weekly frequency. Then a rep can go into the Win Vault and search inside of the Win Vault to find the relevant win stories based upon how they need that information, whether it's on a pursuit strategy, whether they're doing account-based selling, account-based marketing, or they're just trying to do a demand gen campaign. This information provides the relevant information about wins and win stories, and they can drill down deeper and try to figure out exactly what's important to them and their industries, their competitors, and the like, so that they can see the most relevant win stories that fit their criteria and dig in deeper to that criteria. All of this information is really kept into context in terms of tribal knowledge portals. So as an example, here's some buyer persona portals. These are all the buyers that we know that have been associated with wins in your business. And so since we know these individuals have been associated with wins, we can build a little bit more sales enablement around that, such as their buyer persona, top pain points, third-party resources, and of course wins that are associated with that particular buyer, as you see here. So we can do the same thing not only with buyers, we can do the same things with products, do the same things with industry, do the same thing with competitors. So again, we know which competitors that you're defeating in the process, right? We can get an understanding of who these guys are, what they say about us, what we say about them in the process, right? And then win stories where we're able to beat these guys. So with this framework, we're able to put together what we call a Kickstarter or an onboarding plan. So in this instance, what we have are the steps, this guided process, this self-directed guided process that will allow a seller to work at their pace, so they're not waiting on anybody inside of the organization, and it's always going to be directed out. So in this instance, what we have are the due dates. When a new seller is expected to complete these particular tasks. And once they have completed these tasks, they click that they've completed the task. Now, if they go past the due date, then an email will go out to the seller and their direct managers, or the frontline managers, you can see right here, to let them know that they're not on task. They're not going at the minimum pace that's expected of them, right? And again, this is information that all can gets out of the directly into the system, right? So if we want to talk about who are our buyers and review the buyer personas, again, that's directly in the system. So you can see that we can keep individuals inside of CRM, so they don't have to go outside of CRM, so that they can understand the information that's important to them, and they can go at their own pace, and so that they're not wasting any time. The Kickstarter piece, right? Lastly, we have the My Battle Cards page. And so we'll jump out of Ramped Up and go directly to an Opportunities tab to show you what a battle card looks like. So in this instance, we have not only a tab inside of Salesforce.com, but we have real estate inside of the opportunity so that we can see the information that is specific to the win stories, the onboarding program, the knowledge base, and we tie that directly into a particular opportunity. So let's go through and look at what this looks like for us here. At first, you see the ideal customer profile. So what the ideal customer profile does is tells us if we're working on an opportunity that looks similar to opportunities that have been won in the past. As an example here, the industry is in the top 3, the competitors the top 3, the buyers top 3, the products are top 3. So we know that this opportunity looks a little bit like the opportunities that we've worked on in the past, so this really is a good usage of our time. The battle card homepage is a way for us to understand perhaps some triggering events, a little bit about the opportunity itself, or the account itself. And we can, of course, import that information into Salesforce.com if we need to. We're also going to look for the decision makers that are important to this opportunity. And these decision makers are based on the buyer personas that we know that are closing deals, or the buyers that have been involved in decisions and wins in your instance of Salesforce.com in the past. So we can look and try to find who these individuals are. And we can import these individuals into the account if we need to. The competitive edge understands the people that we're competing against in this particular opportunity. Shoot that down a little bit so we can see this in its entirety. And so again, these are our competitors. This is what their competitors say about us. This is what we say about them. And then these are some win stories where we've beat these guys, as an example. These are the buyers that we know that are responsible for in this opportunity. Again, we can go in and understand who the buyer personas are, their top pain points, and wins where we have against those buyers. Same with products. These are the products that we know we're selling. These are pain points we can understand about those products. Wins that are associated with those products. Industries that are associated with the where we've won opportunities in the same industry. And then the playbook, right? So what the playbook does is it is a vehicle for us to understand what the best practices are that the best practitioners have done to win an opportunity. So we have multiple plays inside of our playbook, right, for demand gen, account executive, but this can be any amount of plays. And so we select this information so that we know what we need to do to win this opportunity. And then once we perform that task, as you can see here, our status bar starts to grow. So this is how we take all the applicable information that is inside of Ramped Up and boil it down so it's specific to that opportunity. So this is onboarding, ongoing for every single opportunity. And that's how you're able to improve your close rates by as much as 2x, because you're working on opportunities that you know you can win. And when you are, you're given the tips and the tactics of what individuals have done to win those opportunities in the past. Again, this is Ramped Up and a brief presentation, an overview of our services. Thank you.